بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أما بعد فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. ثم أما بعد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Jazakumullah kullu khair for coming despite the big problems you hear about. Inshallah, we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open the hearts of all the brothers and let us go forward to help each other hand to hand for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this land where we have no real brothers, no blood brothers, just brotherhood in the agony, brotherhood in exile, brotherhood in the torture and the humiliations we have so that we are talking now about Islam on the pavements of kufr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us mature enough to understand these big problems which the people, the real pain and losing in all that is the children, and we lose also from our religion. However, the topic today is about what does it mean Salafism? On the definitions of the Salafi brothers who put that definition for them, they mean by it that the group of people whom they are trying to follow the Sahaba. Without realizing, they did give it a title, and they give that title to a certain group, and without realizing, they start pulling out themselves from the majority of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, labeling the others with other names, which is contradicting their own policy. When this Salafism coming, I have to call it Salafism, I have to call it something, but I will explain why this term is not legal in Islam. When the Salafism came, it came to denounce people who are labeling themselves different from Muslims of Sunni Muslims. It came to denounce the Mazhabism. It came to denounce the blind following. It came to denounce nationalism. It came to denounce every ism. But without realizing, the more they have enemies, the more they were concealed amongst themselves, the more they were pointing fingers at the brothers were saying to others, and later on, the more we're thinking that Salafism, just to be a Salafi, just to have the name Salafi, it means you have exemptions from the fire hell. Some of them they do that. I believe many sincere brothers they don't. But it is a reality now which we are living into it, and we haven't that thing. Now, starting to think, is that title Islamic title? Yes, there is a Salaf. Salaf are the people of the Prophet ﷺ, all the generations, the best generations, and those who follow them bi ihsan, follow them with righteousness. Yes, these are called Salafism, are Salafi. These are the Salaf people. But for us to be related to them, it's a little bit of a deviation from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called us Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Hajj, وَجَاهِدُوا فِي اللَّهِ حَقَّ جِهَادِهِ هُوَ اجْتَبَاكُمْ وَمَا جَعْلَ عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ مِلَّةَ أَبِيكُمْ إِبْرَاهِيمَ هُوَ سَمَّاكُمُ الْمُسْلِمِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, do jihad, strive in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you should do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have made ease for you in the religion. And He selected you from amongst nations to become the best. And not only that, this is the religion of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and He is the one He called you Muslims from before. So Allah wanted us to be Muslims. So we are Muslims, and the real name for us are Muslims. Any deviations from this title, any extra title is not allowed in Islam. At some stage, on the first generations, there was many bid'ah people, and many people are doing things which is other than the Islamic discipline, so they called themselves Sunni. So that was the only legitimate title, is Muslim Sunni. And the scholars of Islam have always denounced other than these two names, a Muslim and Sunni. Any other name is not allowed in Islam. Look what Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah or what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam have said. Although the title Muhajirun and the title Ansar are legitimate titles said in the Quran, Allah have called the Muhajirun, have called the Ansar. So if the Muhajirun said, we are the Muhajirun, they are not doing anything against Islam. If the Ansar, the helpers, they said, we are Ansar, they are not doing anything against Islam. But once they had a fight together because of some matter, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah is saying, once they had a fight together and then somebody said, oh Muhajirun come, oh, and others say, oh Ansar, oh the helpers come. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, although these titles are legitimate titles and are Islamic titles, he said, what is this? Are you calling the call of ignorancy and I'm still alive amongst you? So even when the title is right, you have no right whatsoever to group against your brothers because of any matter which is not a matter of hardcore aqidah. It's illegitimate. It's not allowed in Islam. And what is the consequence of that? The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam when Allah subhanahu wa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that he said, من دعا بدعوة الجاهلية فهو من جثاء جهنم وإن صام وصلى وزعم أنه مسلم. Hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam narrated by Imam Ahmad and Imam Tirmidhi. Whoever called with ignorancy, I'm Algerian, oh Egyptians, he said he is one of the people who's going to be collected and thrown into the fire, even if he fasts, even if he prays. Unfortunately, we hear these kind of things now. This is haram. The result of it, even if you pray, that you will go to the fire. There is no two questions about it. Now, if this was happening between the Muhajirin and the Ansar, would that be accepted by people saying we are Salafis? And because we are Salafis, this one is jihadi, and this one is ikhwani, and this one is this, started pointing fingers, started calling people. That was not accepted even from the Muhajirin and the Ansar. How could it be with a new name, not founded by Islam? And here Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah as well he's saying, قال فلا نعدل عن الأسماء التي سمانا بها الله سبحانه وتعالى أحدثها قوم وسموها هم وآباؤهم ما أنزل الله بها من سلطان. Then he continued in his book Al-Wasiyya Al-Kubra. He said, we shall not leave our name with the name which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chosen for us for any other name which has been selected by people. They invented it and they call themselves and their generation with it. Our name we must keep. Then he said in his books called the Wasiyya Al-Kubra, the fundamental will. He said, he said, but if somebody is asked, what are you? What is your group? He should say, I am not of this and I am not of that. I am a Muslim who is trying to obey the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah in his book Al-Wasiyya Al-Kubra. قال ولكن إذا سئل عن هذا يقول لا أنا كذا ولا أنا كذا بل أنا مسلم متبع لكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Some people will say, but everybody is saying I'm a Muslim and I'm a follower of Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. So we have to call ourselves Salafi. Said no. Even if you call yourself Salafi, for every action you do, you have to give evidence. You can call yourself anything. Anyone from the Muslim Brotherhood, from the Jihadis, from the Salafis, from anybody. When he does some action, he is accountable for it and he has to give the proof for it. So whether you call yourself a Salafi or you call yourself anything, you still have to give the proof. So why you call yourself that? Why you cause enmity for that? Why you become a person who is actually deviating from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Farid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and still haven't done yourself any favor? Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Then let us say even if that name was allowed, if it was allowed, that will relate us to the Sahaba rather than relating us to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's more degraded. It's not even the second best. It's lower than that. When you say Muslim Sunni listen to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obey the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means you're relating yourself directly to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quran and the Sunnah, rather than relating yourself to the inheritance of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is something also you have to keep in mind. Allah choose for you the best and you choose something which is second best or third best or whatever. But however, even if people allow you to have such a name, that name, that Salafism, when you call yourself, it is something of recommendation, self-recommendation, that you're a person who are doing the work of the Salaf. That recommendation, it has to be proven. It cannot be just given a go-ahead like that without you prove it. And certainly it cannot be with a group of people who do not do what the Salaf used to do, enjoining the good, forbidding the evil, departing themselves from the tyrants, doing jihad in the cause of Allah, bringing people to Islam all the time, opening their eyes to the enemies of Islam all the time, protecting the women and the humiliated children everywhere. And that alone, it is a very big obstacle for anybody to claim that he's followed the footsteps of the Sahaba. Well, our Sahaba, they never used to leave these things just passing behind them. But in fact, they used to say, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he ordered us to hate with this, he ordered us to hate with this, and he pointed to the sword. Whoever go out of this, who pointed at the Quran. So they are the protectors of the Quran. They are not doing the jabri work, waiting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the khilafah for them. Oh, we know the hadiths of the khilafah are coming. We're waiting for it, but we're doing nothing. The Sahaba never used to do that. The Sahaba never used to say, Allah will protect the Quran, so we are not going to print any more Qurans. No, the Sahaba printed the Quran when the memorizers of the Quran were getting killed in the battles. They went to Osman radiallahu anhu and they said, the Sahaba are getting killed. So how are we going to protect the Quran? He did not say to them, oh, Allah will protect the Quran. It's in Surah Al-Hijr. Come on, don't you read Quran? This is the Jabri thinking, the Murji'ah thinking, to leave work and to rely on Allah. And Sunnah al-Jama'ah said, no, Allah will protect this religion, but by us. And if we turn away, Allah will employ others. So the Sahaba used to take the takalif, the opportunities, to carry the burden, to prove that you have chosen us for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we will never turn away from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether he's alive or dead sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the Sahaba. Those are the Salaf. Relating yourself to them, it's a big task. Recommending yourself for something which you cannot afford. When you say I'm a Salafi, and all what we see from your Salafism is you reading some Quran, you learning some points, you are leaving your beard, and you having your miswak, and your jalabiyah is short, and you go to pray. All the followers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, including the hypocrites, were doing that exactly in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even the hypocrites. First row they pray, and even some hypocrites they used to go with him in the battlefield. So here we can have two kinds of Salafism. Everybody in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to your definition, is a Salafi. If this is all, they all believe in the names and attributes of Allah, they cannot go out of the fiqh point of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they were more Salafis than you, even though Allah called them ribs, najis, because they denounced jihad. So in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, there was two kind of Salafi. The Salaf, which is a Salaf al-Salih, which is the real Salaf who took all the religion, the monotheism, and also the consequences to protect that monotheism, which is doing jihad fi sabilillah. And the other Salafis who are just doing like the nowadays Salafism, doing the apparent things, studying, going to the mosque, want to smell nice, marry 4 wives. When it comes to jihad, cuddle the wives. Leave the other Salafis to do the jihad. This is not the Salafism which you claim you're going. Unless you say, oh, we like to follow this kind of Salafis, it's your problem. It is your problem. We want the Salafis, or we would like you to approve your point as a Salafi, to follow the people who protect the religion, who sacrifice for the religion, who wants to be shaheed even by saying the truth. Not necessarily by saying the truth and getting killed for it. But we see in the people who say the truth amongst the Salafis and getting imprisoned, they call them even Khawarij. Even the biggest sheikhs. Even when they try to become a shaheed by saying the truth, they call them Khawarij. That is not the way of the Salafis, which deserve that name, deserve Salafis for it.